First of all, I think that congratulations are in order.
Well, thank you. If you say so, then probably
Yes,
you're
of
right.
course I do, because you have reforged Machine World,
Yeah,
scheduled for August 22nd.
exactly.
This is basically a wonderful wrap up of certain songs of the past and your aesthetic for the future.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the last in the line, so to speak. It's only three reforged album because with this last one we cover basically all songs that are whichever have been written and recorded during the Noise years. And just one short addition, we do that not because for the fun of it. The main reason why we are doing this whole Reforged project is because we don't have legal control about the old Noise catalog, and those people who have control are not doing very much to it. So to make that available to public again, the only chance was re-recordings, and that's why we're now here talking about the last in line Reforged 3 Machine World album.
When did you come up with the idea of doing so?
When? Well, I mean, as I just pointed out, there was request for old stuff to be reissued, and that was just not possible. Or, well, I mean, we also could have tried to buy back the catalog, but usually that is very expensive, and you pay much more than you ever get out of that. And so I decided that re-recording is the best thing because. And on the other hand, it gave me the chance to fix up some things that I wasn't happy with. Speaking of a Dark Assault album, which is the songs from that one, so I would say the most polishing up, because with Dark Assault it's a good album and it has really great tracks on it, but I never was very happy with the production. When I did it at the time, I was very much into huge drum sounds, and so I've added a lot of samples to the drums, and to make this sound bombastic, you know. And of course, when I did that, I loved it. But already a year later, I thought to myself, "Oh, why did you do that?" And of course, there was no way to to redo it and to fix that. But now with the re-recordings, I have this chance, and I think. I have to pick one specific song, which is "Eye of the World," the first single that came out for the Reforged 3. "Eye of the World" always was for me the worst Iron Savior track. Sounds so negative, but it was the song on the Dark Assault album, which I wasn't happy with in general. But with "Eye of the World," I also wasn't happy as a song, you know, because it just never kicked me. I wrote it, and but already when I wrote it, I knew that it's going to be an album track, you know, a track which is not bad, but is too weak to stand alone, you know. So it needs album around him, so to speak. And that's actually the only album track I ever had on Iron Savior album. So now that was for me very surprising to see how this one changed, because if you compare the original with the new version, I reworked the ending. The ending is complete because the song just wouldn't end like chewing gum. It was endlessly long and really boring, and so you lose interest. I changed a little bit the drum arrangement. I added some harmony vocals and changed the vocal lines here and there. Not dramatic changes, but and in the end, I really love the song now, the way it is now. It turned out to be a really great song that really stands in line with all the other Iron Savior big hits, and that's why I decided, okay, it's going to be the first single for this one. And just another song from Dark Assault I have to point out, which is Dragons Rising. Dragons Rising had a funny drum arrangement on it, and so I changed that. So there was no flow in this song, and always was the drum that was doing strange things, At the time I recorded with Thomas, we thought, yeah, oh wow, it's really cool progressive shit here that we're doing. But it in the end it didn't make the song good, and it didn't do the song good. And now with this new drum, it really has a great flow, and the main character of the song, which the way I wanted it in the beginning, now is there, and it is a great, Dio like whatever, din 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 slow rocker heavy shit flowing, So those are the songs from the Dark Assault. They saw the most improvement, I'd say. But there are also some other songs like Contortions of Time from the mini EP, the interlude album, which is not so common. That was strange because I haven't been listening to this song for at least over a decade or even longer, maybe 2 decades, because it's a song I know it's there because I wrote it at one point in my life, but I never listened to it anymore. So it was something like a new song for me, just like as if I wrote it just now. And it turned out to be a really great song, I have to say. I'm really happy with the Contortions of Time, the way it is now on the Reforged album, which is also a lot better than it is on the interlude album. And so speaking of those songs, that is exactly what is happening for me on the Reforged album. It's not so common Iron Savior songs. I wouldn't call it skeletons from the closet or so, but it's songs that are, that are not the obvious one, like Titans of Our Time or Heavy Metal Never Dies or Atlantis Falling or whatever, But I think that makes this album really special because it's those songs that are not so common, but now that they are removed from the context of the big hits, so to speak, they really breathe life of its own, and I think that is the real strength of this album. And honestly, I think for me personally, it's the best of the Reforged series. So that was a long monologue. Now a question from your side.
Yes, but it was very enlightening and was really, really, guiding through this conversation. I'm gonna continue with the questions and ask you the following. You mentioned Dark Assault, and you just took us 21 years back in time.
Yeah.
24, actually, 24.
Yeah, 2000 exactly.
It was released back there, 2001. And now you record some songs, and I would like to ask you about the feeling in general in the studio. You said you weren't happy with certain parts of the song, but you also wanted to do something different because with time going, you, as a musician, had other ideas about the song. And I was wondering, how did you feel in the studio when you first, heard something and then said, let's go to work now. Let's modify this. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think with most of the material, I was still happy the way it is now, and I didn't see any reason to change it. Thing that of course production possibilities have evolved over the years, Of course, I have different possibilities now in the studio that I had 20 or 25 years ago. That, of course, but that's a natural thing, I'd say. And also my skills as a producer and also as an artist, as a singer and as a guitarist and a musician, also has evolved over the years. I definitely have my voice is still my voice, but I have a different way of singing than I had, back 30 years, when I was young and wild. Now, today, I sing differently because, there's 30 more years of life experience and
evolution.
Evolution, and there's 30 years more of of emotion that I had, and that of course, has shaped me in a way, as a singer, and definitely I do sing some, not necessarily all, but I do sing some parts differently than I did it back in the days, where power and raw and screaming and it was more important. Today, for me, it's more important that I yeah, that I create a feeling, that I express something, then rather than just to create energy. That was the main approach back in the days, but and today that has evolved a little bit, and I think that also is quite a change and makes the new recordings really distinguishable from the old ones.
Are you going to take these recordings on the road?
Actually, we are thinking of taking Walls of Fire on the road because also for me there's a special thing about Walls of Fire, which is taken from the Condition Red album. And on Condition Red, you have all the, let's say, iconic Iron Savior hits like there's Titans of Our Time, there's Protector, there's Ironbound, there's Paradise, and in the shade of all these Iron Savior song giants, so to speak, Walls of Fire, which is a great song, never got enough attention, so to speak. It's just a good song on Condition Red, but hey, we put on Titans of Our Time and we listen to Protector or Thunderbird, and now that it's removed from this Condition Red context and speaks and stands on its own, it really, shows how great the song is, and when I was recording it, I realized, wow, I mean, it's a great song, and I love it so much, honestly, that I made it a second single, and I think we're going to put it into a live set for the not necessarily for this one, but I think in November when we start promoting and all the new stuff. In November, we're going to play a big festival, and I think that's the time where we first would play Walls of Fire.
Piet, you are a singer, guitarist, can play bass guitar, can play keyboards, you can produce, and you are certainly a qualified engineer. And I was wondering, could you live with just one of these identities? Could you just do one thing of all that?
Yeah, I mean, I really love the engineering side, but that for me always is only a skill I need to express my music. If I would have to choose between producing, working as a sound guy and all the technical stuff, then I would say, okay, leave me the music, my guitar and my voice, and then I'm okay. I would miss that, but the other way around wouldn't work for me. I could not, and it was also as a producer, it was never possible for me to to just produce, just to turn knobs and I was always acting as a musician, and because I realized that, I became what I am now. I'm an artist that also is capable of engineering. That's how I look at myself.
Since we are on a journey to the past times, and of course looking to at the future for this release, let us ask you about 3 moments in time when you had a great thing to remember with Iron Savior. Could you go back and remind us of 3 incidents? It could be shows, it could be certain album releases, it could be parts of life when you said, "Wow, this thing is good. I'm so glad that Iron Savior
Yeah, I mean,
happened to me."
I think that's pretty easy for me. I think the 3 most important things for Iron Savior in my life was, of course, when I did the debut, and when I was signed to Noise or Modern Music, and realized, man, I did it. I recorded an album and I sold it. I have a contract and I received money for it. Yes, okay, great. And so this year we also played Wacken the first time in a small tent, but it was a really great show. So I have great remembrance from that. So that was a very, very, very important year that marked me as an artist. Then the second thing I have to say was, well, you know that I used to run a record label,
Yes.
and when that failed and went down the drain, that was a very depressing moment for me as well. And I was really thinking of quitting completely, leaving the business behind, not doing music anymore, because I was really frustrated about this. I mean, this was because I had debts over 100,000 euros and stuff like, and life wasn't funny at these times. My studio looked like a basement, just like it was like a storage place, and then this after that, the thing that really changed everything was recording the landing, which is it's for me almost as important or even more important than the debut album, because that marked my return, and that I really want to continue what I was doing before with Iron Savior. So I would say those are the three for Iron Savior, the most important stations in life. First album, the downfall or the demise of Dockyard Records, and the plan to give up, and then recording the landing. So
We say in the beginning that the album will be released in August, and
yeah.
it's going to be August 22nd. Then you have certain plans. And what's
Uh,
next
well, I
for
mean,
Iron
next is
Savior?
yeah. I mean, we play a lot of live shows this year. So we played a couple of festivals. There are a couple of shows coming up into the end of the year, and so it's um, constant shows going on. And besides of that, next year, 2026, it's the 30 years of Iron Savior, so it's our anniversary year. And of course, something big is supposed to happen. And so Reforged only kicks off all the events and the promotion that are leading into the grand finale into 2026, where of course the new studio album will see the light of the day, and a lot of other great things are supposed to happen, and to celebrate 30 years of Iron Savior. So from now on, we hope that Iron Savior will be well in constant promotion, constant attention of the people. We have the Reforged album. We perform live. There's another in between album, or well, in between album is not the right word, but something I cannot speak about at this moment. So, but there's something more to come at the end of the year, or maybe also beginning of next year. And of course, in the second half of 2026, there's going to be the new studio album in 2026, 30 years of Iron Savior. And so there's a lot of stuff coming up the road for us.
Many people say, and I'm one of them, that Iron Savior is a great name for a band.
Yeah, I think so too. That's why I picked it.
And many people have asked you in the past like 2,000 times or maybe 20,000 times, how did you come up with that? How you came up with that name?
Well, I mean, actually, that goes back to the pre-Halloween times, when we had our bands like Gentry and Second Hell, and Iron Fist at my place, in my parents' house at the basement. And Aaron Savior actually was a song name. It was the name of the song we played with I think with Second Hell already. Second Hell later on became was used on the first Gamma Ray, and Iron Savior only the name. The song that I wrote has nothing to do with the original song, but I really like the name Iron Savior, and so that sticked on my mind. And when I was working as a sound engineer, as we just said, for a couple of years, I found out that not necessarily all musicians that come to the studio to record with me were actually better as myself as artists. And so after a couple of years, I came to the idea that maybe I can try myself to record an album, because obviously there are people who are not as good as you who do that and are successful with that, and maybe you can be successful as well. So I started out. So I started working on a track, wrote this initial song, and because it was still in my mind, from the very early days, it was Iron Savior. I thought, hey, yeah, Iron Savior is cool, and yeah, it's a good name for a band as well. So I have the first song, and I have the name for the project. It was a project at these days.
You've been a very renowned musician for more than 30 years, and you have toured the world, and you've seen amazing things on and off stage. Now you are seeing that other bands um, are just saying, this is goodbye, and they leave the stage for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
As a musician, would you say that you should go touring, recording, creating as long as you can? Because that's why you feel like that's what you want
Yeah,
to
I mean,
do.
not as long as I can, as long as I want to, I would speak, you know. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, there are lots of the old heroes now that retire. I mean, of course, I'm 60 years old. It's obvious that I cannot do another 30 years, you know.
But you could do another
Um,
20.
yeah, maybe I can do another 10 or another 20. I don't know, you know. If I in 10 years think I that's it for me for Iron Savior, I don't feel like doing it anymore, then it's okay for me, you know. Um, but since I'm doing this mostly for myself and for the fun of it, not necessarily for the money, um, I could imagine, and I'm not overdoing it, you know. I'm I like to perform live, but I also like to be at home with my family, you know. And some people ask me, well, aren't you a little bit jealous sometimes that Kai and Halloween are so super successful and Iron Savior isn't? And I say, yeah, of course, in a way. Sometimes I'm jealous, and I think, well, I'm pretty good as well, and maybe Iron Savior should get a little bit more attention. But on the other hand, I am also quite happy with the life I have from that, because if Iron Savior would have been really, really successful from the very first minute on, my life would have been completely different. Maybe I would have never met my beautiful wife. Maybe I never would have had three lovely children. And so my life is good. I have a good life, you know. And so there is nothing, honestly, for me to regret about this. You know. And of course, selling a little more Iron Savior albums would be good, but it's not necessary. It's not. It's I don't need that to be happy in my life, you know. And the way Iron Savior is now, I have total freedom. I can stop tomorrow. Of course, then I would okay, maybe vacations and some and I would have to save some money, of course. I would so it's not Iron Savior does create income, and if that stops tomorrow, I would definitely feel that. But it won't kill me, you know, and that is a good feeling. That way I am independent and can decide what I want and what is best for me, my heart, my family, and everything. And I'm really honestly thankful for that. And sometimes when I look at Kai, when I don't want to change with him.
I see what you mean. And I would like to ask you one last question before we end this conversation. And before I do that, I would like to thank you so much for your time. It's
No, no
been
problem.
it's
Thank
been
you for your interest
amazing.
and support.
Um, let's say that you are doing a show with Iron Savior, one of the many shows, and you walk off stage. The show is over, you walk off stage, and some guy, 17 years old, approaches you, says, Pete, I am astounded. I was shocked by this show, and I want to be a professional musician. What would you say back?
Well, I would say back, of course, go for it, but always have in mind that it's not working, maybe. So don't, yeah, you can put a lot of energy in there, but it's always good to, well, to stay realistic, you know? And of course, of course, you can only get successful when you really are willing to put a lot of time and a lot of work into, and you have to have a long breath, you know? Success does not comes around the corner and then it's there and everybody loves you. You have to really work for it, you know. And you also have to be prepared that it's just not working. That you do great music and the world does not realize it, you know. And so I think it's always okay to be to well to take your chances, you know, and really go for it, but don't throw away your job or something or skip school or something like this. This is what I would say, you know.
Thank you so
always
much for
make
your time.
sure always make sure that you have a backup, you
Yeah,
know.
you bet. Thank you so much for your time. All the best
Yeah,
with you and Iron Savior. Hopefully, we see you live in Greece
yeah, that would be
soon.
really good. Well, I mean, actually we are booked for the festival in where is it, Volos, I think,
You
in
bet.
Greece, after a very, very, very long time. I think I think that's a little story I have to tell. I think the first and last show ever in Greece was, 1996 or 97 together when we were on tour with Ed Guy. We came to Athens and played at Club Rodon, I think was the name. I think the club isn't existing anymore, but it was the Rodon Club, as far as I remember.
Oh, it
And the
was
thing is, it really, honestly, it's still the worst gig of Iron Savior in the entire 30 years Iron Savior history. Why? What I tell you why? Because we came there the day before, with Ed Guy and me, and well, there were lots of fans and journalists and everything. It was really a big thing, lots of people at the hotel, and I thought, wow, oh, okay, we're superstars here, and so I was in a really excited mood, and in the evening. We had a little drink at the hotel bar, and all of a sudden, the guy who was running the bar went away and left the entire crew, the Ed guys and the Iron Saviors, alone with this bar. And so, of course, we helped ourselves with the drinks, and that, of course, resulted in heavy drinking. And I remember myself sitting with Toby somewhere in the corner at 5 o'clock in the morning with a bottle of Metaxa, and I destroyed myself. The next morning I got up, I had the most insane headache ever. I had interviews going, so there was no way for me to sleep. After the interview was done, I tried to recover for an hour, and it just wasn't working. So I was completely wiped out, and the worst thing about it was my voice was gone.
oh,
I could not sing at all. And I realized that already during the sound check, and it just not got better, And then in the evening, my voice was completely gone, so that was not a very good thing. The other thing was that it was our very first show, and our bass guitarist and our keyboarder, they weren't familiar with the songs yet so much, so they had lead sheets. First song, club turned on the air condition, all lead sheets gone, so they had no idea what they were playing. And honestly, I mean, Ed Guy were really good. Ed Guy was the by far the best band and on this evening. Somehow the people, because it was Kai on stage and the people liked it in a way, but that was the reason why we never got rebooked for Greece. So I'm really happy that we can now return to Greece and show the Greek people that we can play.
it's one of those Spinal Tap moments, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time, Pete. All the best.
Okay.
See you
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Bye
Okay.
now.
Bye bye. All the
Bye
best.
now.